with Big Sarge. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, I do, CJ. I do have something. Hey, what's going on, y'all? You tuned into the Texas Tailgate Talk Live right here, sponsored by Big Sarge Media LLC. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. And make sure you're subscribed to the BigSargeMedia.com website because I am getting back into writing. It's been a minute. I've been doing a lot of writing on other platforms, but it's time for me to get back into writing for myself. There's a lot of things that I want to share with you Houston Texans fans this year. And I want to bring that to you, not only in audio form, not only in video form, but I also want to bring it to you in print media as well. What's going on, HD? Appreciate the follow. Now, I told you all on last week that this is something that I will be doing, that I will be separating the Big Sarge Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. I will separate that from the Texans Tailgate Talk. The Texans Tailgate Talk. Oh, man, why didn't I say that? I should have said that. That's what I should have said. The Texans Tailgate Talk is also in podcast form, available wherever you get your podcast from, right? I mean, I meant to tell you all that I have a new platform in Texas Tailgate Talk Season 3 that is available on all podcasting platforms, and I'm very, very appreciative to appreciate that, Cedric. I'm very, very appreciative of Jonathan M. Alexander. If you all haven't gotten a chance to listen yet, make sure you go listen to Thursday's edition of the Texans Tailgate Talk with myself and Houston Chronicle beat writer for the Texans, Jonathan M. Alexander, as we go over the schedule. I get his, I asked Jonathan what he thought about the 2025 schedule, where he may have seen some rocky roads in that schedule. Should the Texans have gotten the 4 primetime games again? How does he feel about those 4 primetime games? And side note, I think that they actually deserve those primetime games. I do believe that the Houston Texans have a brand that is marketable and sellable to other fan bases. I also believe that they have the talent to be able to compete with a lot. And I just want to see them be able to play those 4 primetime games, stretched out instead of being bunched up together. I'm so glad to see that they don't play 3 games in 11 days. I'm glad. What's going on, Texas Tangent? I'm glad to see that they're not. I'm glad to see that they're not playing, the Dolphins and then playing the Chiefs and then 4 days later playing the Baltimore Ravens. Like, that was a tough stretch in December for the Houston Texans team, a team that had been playing been playing football the longest, and that's including OTAs, training camp. They started training camp earlier because they did have the Hall of Fame game, an additional preseason game that they had because Andre Johnson was elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And so I'm looking at that schedule. I'm just glad to see it stretched out. And make sure you all go and listen to Thursday's edition of the Texans Tailgate Talk with Jonathan M. Alexander, because we get into and we dive into the very first game. The very first game, the Houston Texans will fly out to California. Of course, Big Sarge will be on the scene. Of course, Big Sarge will be there. Of course, just like per usual, I will be there giving you all the exclusive content from pre-game, post-game, from the press conferences that you all will also be able to watch. For those of you all who are not traveling, I'm sorry, for those of you all who watch the post-game press conferences on YouTube through the Texans YouTube channel, you'll be able to see that. But I will also be bringing you, just like I have done for however long I've been covering the Texans, I will bring you exclusive exclusive content from the locker room post game. But that first game against the Los Angeles Rams, and go listen to that podcast. Jonathan and I talk about it. And the one glaring problem that we had was the Houston Texans offensive line going up against the front seven of the Los Angeles Rams with so much uncertainty, so much not knowing what's gonna, know how that's going to gel, how that's going to come into play. And I'm talking about the Houston Texans offensive line. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see what happened. What happens as far as Texans training camp is concerned, and that line coming together, getting some continuity to build to protect CJ Stroud. And also, like I said on the podcast on Thursday, to protect Joe Mixon. Because a lot of people are just looking at it from a perspective of, well, you got to protect CJ, you got to protect CJ. You got to also create running lanes for Joe Mixon. You also got to protect Joe Mixon as well. And so once again, like I said, man, I'm grateful and appreciative of everybody who supports me. I'm gracious and appreciative of everybody who is, supporting the Texans Tailgate Talk. And don't get me wrong, y'all know how this thing goes. When training camp starts, you know what? Maybe I might do something. I'm probably going to shoot something before then. But definitely when training camp starts, every day there will be a Texans Tailgate Talk training camp review in the season. I'll do it as much as I can from the home games. I'll do it for as much as I can throughout the week. And those of you all who are familiar with the Texans Tailgate Talk, I just set up a camera, sit on the back of the truck, sit right on the tailgate, and then I just go to work giving you the analysis and things that I have seen, from training camp, or if I've talked with someone in the locker room, or, if I seen something that should be brought to you all attention. Hey, what's going on, Alexis? What's up, Christopher? I think I said hello to Cedric HD and Texas Tangents, but I will, that's where the Texas Tailgate Talk originated from. Me just sitting on the back of my truck, my tailgate, and I've had Kyle and Hannah McNair on the tailgate. I've had Executive Vice President of Marketing and Communications and Ticket Sales, Doug Vosick, Cody M. Davis when he was covering the Houston Texans, Chancellor M. Johnson, formerly of KPRC. I had DJ Bieneme from ESPN, Jonathan M. Alexander, as previously mentioned, from Houston Chronicle, Aaron Wilson. I think has Cole ever been on the back? I don't know if I've ever had Cole on the tailgate. But there will be, and this year I got very, very, very exclusive content. Go Navy. What's up, Nico? I finally caught a live. Yep, Alexis. It's going to set your alerts because it's going to be more and more of these. I'm going to listen. Me doing these live shows is not going to take away from me doing the podcast as well. I will be still doing daily podcasts Monday through Friday, and throughout the season, once the season starts, y'all are going to get bonus material, bonus content on the weekend as well. And when I travel, like let's just say the first game against the Los Angeles Rams at SoFi Stadium, you're going to get some bonus and some exclusive content from Los Angeles. So what's going on now? You're going to get that. So let me go ahead and jump right into this thing. There was a question that was asked to me by Christopher Jackson about what happened on Locked On Texans. Christopher, let me make you this promise. I will come back. I will do a live show about why I'm not on Locked On Texans anymore. And and I will address that. I will address why I'm not on Locked On Texans anymore. But today just ain't the day. Today ain't the day, and it's nothing like I won't be. There's nothing malicious, salacious, or anything like that. But I'll just tell you all on a separate show. I'll make sure that I title it so for those who do want to know can tune in and find out why I'm no longer a part of the Locked On Texans podcast. For those of y'all who do want to know, I don't want to hold people up because the title of this is "It's time to be the captain of the room for one Texans player." So there's a lot of people tuning in to find out what I mean by that. They're not tuned in to find out why I'm no longer on Locked On Texans. So Christopher, please just bear with me. Probably next week sometime when I do have a little bit more time, I will address that. Y'all see, I got, I'm in a new studio now, right? Okay, let me just be honest with y'all. This is a new, I call it a new studio. We moved, right? We moved. We're at an undisclosed location. Ain't that what you do in order to make yourself sound more important? Yeah, we're at an undisclosed location right now in the new studio, right here, talking to Big Sarge Media LLC on the Texans Tailgate Talk. Sarge, tell us what you mean by it's time to be the captain of the room for one Texans player. All right. So last season, right? Last season, I'm going to tell you who the team captains for the Houston Texans were. Quarterback CJ Stroud, offensive lineman Laramie Tunsil, wide receiver Stephon Diggs, edge rusher Will Anderson Jr., linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair, safety Jimmy Ward, long snapper Joe Weeks, and in November they added Joe Mixon to replace Stephon Diggs because Stephon Diggs got hurt and he was out. And so when you look at that list, at that list of team captains from last season, you'll see there's Stroud, Tunsil, Diggs, Anderson, Al-Shaair, Ward, Weeks, and then Mixon was added later on. And so now we know, let's just go to the handy dandy paper right here, and we're going to mark out Laramie Tunsil. He's no longer here. He was traded to the Washington Commanders in the offseason. Let's scratch out Stephon Diggs because he signed with the New England Patriots as a free agent. John Weeks is no longer here. Who did he sign with? The 49ers? Hey, can somebody tell me who he signed with? Who did John Weeks sign with again? And then you look at, there has to be question marks around Jimmy Ward being a team captain again this year. Only because I'm not saying his okay, it was the 49ers. Okay, I was right. So I'm not saying that Jimmy Ward shouldn't be team captain because of mindset or what he brings to the locker room as a veteran. He just can't stay healthy. And if you can't stay healthy, I don't think that you should be a team captain. Like, they don't need a guy in the locker room who brings what Jimmy brings. Do not get me wrong. Jimmy brings a lot to that locker room, but they also need to see somebody who's going to contribute on the field. And because Jimmy Ward has been hurt for so long and for so much of the season, I don't know if you could make him a captain again. And so out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 captains from last season, I think it's time to replace 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, right? You replace 4 of them. So I would say you bring back Stroud, you bring back Will Anderson Jr., you bring back Azeez Al-Shaair, and you bring back Joe Mixon. Let them be the team captains. And now I can't say who should fill all 4 spots just yet. I can't say. I mean, I could throw names out there. Like, I think that when you look at what Derek Stingley Jr. has done on the field and him being named an All-Pro, I think Derek Stingley should be a team captain coming into the 2025 NFL season. I definitely believe that. I do believe that he should be a team captain. When you look at Danielle Hunter, I think that what Danielle Hunter brings, he should be a team captain. I would love to throw in Kamari Lassiter because of his mindset, but he's just not there yet. So I can't name all four. I can't name all four. Alexis, yes, Derek does talk. Derek just doesn't like talking to the media a lot. He does not like talking to the media a lot. So I can't say how we can how the Texans should feel all four positions if they're going to stick with 8 captains. But I got two. I got two that I think should be team captains. And listen, I know the head coach D'Amico Ryans, friend of the show, is listening. I know that Matt Burke, defensive coordinator for the Houston Texans, I know he's listening, friend of the show. Nick Casario, I know you're not listening, but I'm pretty sure somebody's going to clip this up and send it to you. So, make sure you're listening. The players who are listening, you just tell me if I'm in the immortal words of the great Negro poet and former NFL player and media personality, Indy Kalu. Am I on something or on to something? Y'all let me know. Hey, Romanis, I'm gonna address that next week. I made that announcement earlier, but we'll get back to it. So I will. I got two players. So D'Amico, just bear with me for a second and tell me what you think. Players who are listening, friends of the show, just bear with me for a second. First player that I think should be named team captain for the Houston Texans in the 2025 season is wide receiver Nico Collins. That's a lock. That's a lock. Nico Collins should be a team captain this year. All he's done the last 2 seasons was put in the work and show that when he's on the field, what he's capable of doing. Last season, in 12 games, in only 12 games, he had 68 catches, 1,006 yards receiving, and 7 touchdowns. And that's with missing 5 games. Remember, when Nico Collins went out, when Nico Collins got injured, he was leading the NFL in receiving yards. He stays healthy for those 5 games and plays a full 17-game season. Nico Collins would have been an all-pro wide receiver. I'm here to say it. I will say it right here. I will say it to whoever wants to debate me on it. I'm here for that. Nico Collins would have been, he would have been an all-pro wide receiver if he would have been able to stay healthy and not miss those 5 games. I think that even if he misses just 3 games, even if he misses 3 games instead of 5, he still is an all-pro wide receiver. In 12 games, he had 1,000 yards receiving, and we know what he's done the last two postseasons when he's been arguably the only number one, the only true wide receiver. And when I mean that, that's no shot at the other wide receivers on the Houston Texans. That's not a shot at the other wide receivers on the Houston Texans. Those guys just don't have the experience and the amount of reps that Nico Collins had. With the amount of reps that Nico Collins had, with the amount of time he's had to play with CJ, he's the only, you put Xavier Hutchinson over there, you could put Jared Wayne over there, you could put John Mechie over there, but those players don't have that camaraderie with Nico. with CJ that Nico has, and they don't have that the game time reps in that system. And so when you look at what Nico has done in the last 2 seasons, not only in the regular season, but in the postseason as well, Nico should be a team captain. Like, that's hands down. Coming into this season, if they made Stephon Diggs a team captain last year, then no possible way that what Nico has done shouldn't be team captain worthy. Y'all give me a second. I got to do this. There we go. All right. Hey, listen, right now, y'all keep commenting. I'm going to get back to the comments right now. I can't really see the comments because I need to see myself for a second. Brand new studio again, I told you all. So I'm still getting adjusted to some of the angles. I'm still getting adjusted to the lighting. I'm still getting adjusted to the camera. So just bear with me for a second. So once again, wide receiver Nico Collins should, you know what? No, Sarge, you can't do it. You've got to see the comments for this next one. Wide receiver Nico Collins should be a team captain. The other player that I feel should be named a team captain 2025 for the Houston Texans, Titus Howard. It's time. That's why that's why the title is It's Time to Be the Captain of the Room for One Texans Player. I know that a lot of you all are not going to agree with that. I'm cool with that. I'm here for it. Hey, look, let's talk about it. I listen, I talk for a living. Let's talk about it. I believe that Titus Howard, offensive lineman for the Houston Texans, should be a team captain. See, look, hold on. Alexis, great minds think alike. Great minds think alike. It's time. Titus has been with the Houston Texans going on 7 years, right? This is going to be his 7th year with the Houston Texans. He was drafted in 2019 in the first round, I think with the 23rd pick, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody make sure fact check me on that. But he was drafted 2019 with the 23rd overall pick. He's by far one of the last true veterans. I'm trying to see who else has been on this team. I don't think there's another player that has been on this team as long as Titus. I think Titus is, because it was John Weeks, but now John Weeks is gone. Davis Mills has been here for a minute, but he came after him. I think Titus, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think Titus Howard is the longest. I'm sorry, the player with the most time with the Houston Texans. Somebody fact check me on that, but it's time. And the reason why I say that it's time is no longer is Laramie Tunsil here. He's gone. No longer is Shaq Mason here. And when you look at these young guys that they still have, these young guys that they have on the offensive line coming into the season, they have Ariante Ursery, who's a rookie. You got Blake Fisher. You got Ladarius Henderson, who is basically going to be in his rookie year because he missed all of last season due to injury. You got Juice Scruggs and you got Jared Patterson, right? So you got Ursery, Fisher, Henderson, Scruggs, and Jared Patterson, right? You got those guys that are going to be in the room. And if you remove Ursery out of the equation because he is a rookie and he doesn't have that time with Titus, Blake Fisher, and you remove Ladarius Henderson because he knows Titus. He's been in the room with Titus, but he hasn't played with Titus. But I guess we can keep him in there. You look at Blake Fisher, you look at Ladarius Henderson, you look at Juice Scruggs, and you look at Jared Patterson. All they know is Titus Howard. And he's the big vet in the room. He's the big vet in the room. Yes, sir, Killer Cow. Killer Cow says, I agree. The longest tenured vets on the line. Yep. So now you're looking at those young guys and you're looking at what you're trying to build with those guys. And you don't have Laramie Tunsil here anymore. You don't have Shaq Mason, who, by the way, I know that a lot of people didn't like Shaq Mason on this team. And I will say that he wasn't the Shaq Mason that he was when he played with the Patriots and was winning Super Bowls. I get that, but he still had a wealth of knowledge to bring to that room. I know people didn't like Laramie Tunsil's leadership style, but for the things that you all did not see behind the scenes, he was very good for a lot of these young players, but they're gone. And now it's time for Titus to step in. That is a good question, Alexis. Let me find out. You know what? Let me look it up right now because I think you may be right. Let's see. Yep. You're right. Kaimi Fairbairn has been here longer than Titus has. Yep. And he came in 2016. So when you look at those young players, those young offensive linemen that are in the room, you look at those young offensive linemen that are in the room, they're looking up to Titus Howard. And I know that the Houston Texans went out and got Trent Brown. I know that they went out and they got Cam Robinson. I know they went out and they got Laken Tomlinson. And I'm just using those three as veterans who have been in the league. I think Laken Tomlinson has been in the league longer than Titus Howard. But you look at these three players and the amount of service time that they have in the NFL. That's cool. They don't have no service time with the Texans. They don't have any service time with the Texans. Titus does. And for however much criticism Titus receives, however many people don't believe in Titus Howard, I get that part. But all Titus has ever done is play wherever you need him to play. Hey, Titus, this week we're going to play you at your natural position, which is right tackle. But next week, you could be a left guard. Oh, we might need you at right guard. And then in 2 weeks from now, we're going to need you to play left tackle. Just like Jonathan and I agreed on, I said this on Thursday's show. One thing for certain that we know about the Houston Texans offensive line, Titus Howard going to be there somewhere. Somewhere. Hell, I found out something that I didn't know about Titus last season. I didn't know Titus had played center before. And how I found out that Titus had played center before is when they moved him to the left guard position. I went to talk to Jared Patterson. And when I talked to Jared Patterson, I said, how much has Titus helped you throughout your, and this was after a couple of games, how much has Titus helped you become a better center by him being right there next to you, having that experience? He said, he helps me. He helps me out a lot. It's Titus didn't play center before. I said, wait a minute, come again. What? See, I knew Titus had played quarterback, right? I knew Titus had played quarterback. I knew Titus had played tight end, right? Right. I knew that he had played on the defensive side of the ball in college. I knew that. Those things I knew. I never knew that Titus Howard played center. So when Jared Patterson told me that, I went straight to Titus and I said, bro, you played center before? He said, yeah, I played center before. I said, well, Jared says that one thing that's helping him a lot and helping him become a better center is because you're next to him. And so you also recognize some of the things that's happening from that position. He's like, yeah, I try to give him, little tips here. He said, between playing the center position and playing quarterback, when I line up and I'm right next to him, when I look up, I can see different types of things. I look at it from the lens of being from when I played quarterback, and I look at it from the lens of when I play center. And he said, although a lot, we're in the NFL, so a lot of that stuff changed. You got some of the best minds calling defensive plays. He said, but some basic packages never change. He said, so I look up and I help him out that way. And so when you got a player like that is willing to do whatever it takes to make the team better, I feel like this year got to be a team captain, Titus. And Cole Popovich, who is taking over for Chris Strausser as the offensive line coach, you got to put more on Titus' plate. You got to tell Titus, hey, we need you. We really need you. Not only do we need you to potentially play multiple positions, not only do we need you to play multiple positions, potentially play multiple positions on the offensive line, we need you to step up and be the big vet. I know that Laramie was there. I know that Laramie, has some type of cachet because he is the Pro Bowl left tackle, because he was rated one of the best left tackles. He was rated one of the best offensive linemen. He's gone. I know Shaq Mason, because of who he played for, where he played, and the type of experience that he brought to the room. Cool. He gone. It's on you, big dog. It's on you. And that's why I feel like Titus Howard should be a captain, because not only will that help command more respect from the players in the locker room, because they really do respect Titus a lot. Not only will that command more respect from Titus in the locker room, but that'll command more respect for Titus Howard in his position room. When he walks into that room, Titus should be the big vet. That's taking nothing away from Cam Robinson and Trent Brown and Laken Tomlinson from their time of being in the NFL. I'm talking about playing with the Houston Texans and playing for the Houston Texans. Yes, these guys are going to bring all of that, right? These guys are going to bring their experience of playing on other teams in other systems and just being in the NFL as a whole. But when you look at Blake Fisher, Ladarius Henderson, Juice Scruggs, Jared Patterson, and a rookie in Ariante Ursery, hey, it's got to be Titus. And so I know that a lot of people are going to think that Sarge is on something. He ain't on to something, that he's on something. Sarge, come on, man. No, I'm telling you that, and look, hold on. And let me, like I always say, this is just my opinion. I respect everybody's opinion. I just disagree with the opinion. So you can disagree with mine, and it ain't gonna make me no never mind. You ain't gotta go and write no dissertation on my social media about how you disagree with me. You ain't gotta hold no spaces on how you disagree with me. You ain't gotta go and badmouth me to other people. If you disagree, then just disagree, or don't follow my content. That is so easy. So if you disagree, just disagree. This is my opinion. And in my opinion, I look at Titus Howard, somebody that I have been covering since he came into the league. Somebody that I've watched grow into who he is, right? And don't get me wrong. There's times where Titus has played bad. Titus will tell you, hey, I played bad. A lot of you all only like to take the sound bites of him when he says something that y'all don't agree with, but take it into totality. Titus will tell you, hey man, when he doesn't play bad, he'll say it's on me. He'll say, hey, that's on me. I played bad. And a lot of there's a lot of media members. Let me start with the media members first, right? Media members and radio personalities, television personalities who will shoot directly at Titus Howard and say, "Oh, by far, he's one of the worst left guards I've ever seen." It's because he's not a left guard. Can he play the position? He surely can. He's a right tackle. He's been telling you he is a right tackle. He's told you that on numerous occasions. I am a right tackle, and he has played very well when he is playing right tackle. And so when he has to move from right tackle to left guard, that's the equivalent to being right hand dominant. And now you got to do everything with your left hand. It's like somebody telling you, hey, you can no longer use your dominant hand. You got to learn to use your offhand. And not only do you have to learn to use your offhand, you got to be proficient and efficient with your left hand. That ain't crazy to y'all? Why am I lagging? Y'all give me a second. Some of this stuff got to be closed out. Give me 1 second. Because some of this stuff, I'm lagging, y'all, and I know why. I got too many windows open. Y'all give me a second. Here we go. All right, y'all. I'm going to put this out on audio form. So, y'all got to listen to that as well. This is definitely going on the podcast. And for those of y'all who are listening and on this audio adventure with me, every time I do these live shows, these Texans Tailgate live shows as well, they will go on the podcast because there are some people who are not able to watch the live show or not able to comment on the live shows. And I feel like that they should be able to hear this as well. And I will be reading the comments on the live show so y'all can hear it as well. Let me read some of these comments before I jump back into it. Hey, what's up, Queena? Let me see. Do you think they feel like he's not vocal enough? No, Nico's vocal. Oh, he any country. Yeah, and listen, Nico on camera and Nico off camera is two totally different people. Last week, last week when Nico had his football camp, I was talking to his mother and his brother. And I said, there's two Nicos. They say, yeah, you just not figuring that out. I said, no, I figured that out a little bit early on. I said, but a lot of people don't realize there's two Nicos. There's Nico when he's on camera and the way that he talks and he enunciates this and another. I said, then there's Nico off camera. And his mom said, that Nico off camera is something else, ain't he? I said, ma'am, you and his father raised a good one. I said, and he is hilarious. So yeah, he is vocal. Read this. Feels like Nico has been a lot more vocal the last couple of seasons, especially since Miko and CJ got there. Yep. Hello. Ramona says, I'm gaining more respect for from Titus now. Killer Cow, what's going on? I think Titus understands the magnitude of his importance to this new O-line room. Is he vocal enough with that animal nature to get in a naysayer? Let a naysayer know, right? Ain't that what he said? Let a naysayer know. What's going on, AD? He says Titus was the most consistent lineman we had last year. Yeah. Let me see. With this group, he will be suited to be the starting left guard. And then Cedric asked me, is Titus Swarm, Sarge? And you want me to be real? Let me tell y'all something about Titus Howard, right? Let me tell you, and Cedric, I'm about to answer this question right now. You're asking me, is he Swarm? I think that because he is not as vocal, and what I mean by vocal, you don't see him talking a lot of trash. I'm not saying that vocal when he doesn't, if he doesn't speak to the media or not, because he will speak to the media. On the field, Titus he does talk a lot of trash, right? Now, hold on, just bear with me and stay in the car. Don't open the door and get out. We're going somewhere, and I'm gonna get you to the destination safe, fast, and efficient. So, Titus talks a lot of trash. And in order to talk that type of trash, you've got to be able to back it up. In the NFL, if you watch the NFL for as long as I have, and I've been watching the NFL consciously since 1975, right? And what I mean by consciously is I was aware of the things that were going on. No, I didn't know route concepts. No, I can't call defensive schemes. No, I didn't know offensive plays. But around 1975, right? Because I was born in 1972. So around about 1975, three and a half ish, 3 3/4 ish, I was like, okay, I'm watching the game, not fully understanding so much, but starting to get a concept of what's going on. I had athletes in my family. My uncle played football at a high level. And so I'm saying, okay. And, my grandmother and my aunts and my uncles, diehard football fans, diehard Dallas Cowboys fans. So I watched football on a consistent basis. Since 1975, I've been watching the NFL consciously. And I preface that to say this. In the NFL, there's going to be times where players get beat. No NFL player can tell you that throughout their NFL career that they've never made a mistake. They've never had a bad play. They've never done something wrong on the football field. The whole mentality of an NFL player is you got to flush the last play out, whether good, bad, or indifferent. Flush the last series out, whether good, bad, or indifferent. Flush that out. You got a whole new play you got a whole new play coming up. You got a whole new series coming up. I'll never forget. And I know that some of you all don't like to hear this name mentioned, but I'm going to mention him as well. I'll never forget. I had an opportunity to talk to Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was at his locker, right? And I started out talking to y'all. Remember Brandon Wheaton? Y'all remember Brandon Wheaton, who was the backup quarterback here? So most people didn't know, like his shoe game was immaculate. That his cleats, all he had was Jordans, retro Jordan cleats. And I'm saying, hey, look, if you ain't gonna play, you might as well look good. If you ain't gonna play, you might as well look good. So I'm sitting there and I'm talking to Brandon Wheaton, and Deshaun walks up, right? And so I walk up to, I look over and I say, hey, and I, because I'd be like, hey, Mr. Watson, can I ask you a question? He's like, what's up? What you got? I said, how are you able to continue to play even after you have bad plays, or even if you have consecutive bad plays? What goes through your mind? What's in a quarterback's mind? I said, I can understand what goes on in, like, D-Hop's mind, or like JJ's mind, or like Was Clowney still here? I don't know. Jonathan Joseph's mind. Like, I know what goes through Carlos Hyde's mind. I know what goes through their mind, but as a quarterback, what be going through your mind? He said, what goes through my mind is the same thing that goes through their mind. He said, when what goes through what goes through what goes through their mind and what they've told you is the same thing that goes through my mind. You got to be able to move on to the next play. You got to be able to move on to the next series. You got to be able to flush out whatever happens and keep going, because for the most part, you still got a lot of football left to play. Even if you're with a minute left in the fourth quarter and you're down by 3 points, you still have a lot of football left to play. And so you keep it, you got to keep it moving. You got to keep it moving. You cannot harp. Because I don't care if I just threw a 65-yard bomb to get us within field goal range, I'm automatically thinking that play is over. What's the next play? And so I say that to say this: Titus Howard hasn't had some of the best plays on film when he's been moved around to left guard or to left tackle. At right tackle, I feel like he's had way more plays made there than he had. And then even in his short stint playing left tackle, he didn't do too bad. But the swarm mentality comes from being able to give it your all on the field and give it 100 and Indeed, Kalu hates when I say this, right? Because he said that's not mathematically possible. And I was like, listen, I know you went to Rice. I know you have that. They call y'all the Harvard of the South. I get it. I know that Rice is considered the Ivy League school of the South. I get that. Indy hates when I say this, but I can't help but to say it. He gives 110% at everything he does. And whether he does good or whether he does bad, that's what that swarm mentality is. When you listen to these players talk about the swarm mentality, listen to Kamari Lassiter. And Kamari Lassiter will tell you, hey, look, it don't matter whether I do good or I do bad. Did I give it my all on that play? Am I constantly giving it my all? Am I Will Anderson Jr.? Hey, look, I still got some holes in my game. I still got some things that I need to improve on. Am I giving it 100% every time I go? And that's what Titus Howard is giving 100%. Some of you all, you may not believe it. Some of you all go and you do film study and then you'll put up, well, Sarge, what about on this play? Well, Sarge, what about on that play? Well, what about on this play? Hey, if you've been at your job, right, and you feel like you've given it your all, right, you've given your all, and you tell me you never made a mistake on your job, or you never had a bad day, or you never had a bad performance at your job, I'm gonna tell you, hey, man, or young lady, it has been real. I really appreciate knowing you, but we can't talk no more because all you're gonna do is keep lying to me. See, I told you I was gonna get you there. I said fast. It wasn't as fast as I thought it was gonna be, but it was efficient. So yes, he does have that swarm mentality. What's going on, Larry? Larry and Stafford said that's why I'm going to text CJ and tell him to wear the red, blue cement or the Carolina blue Jordan 3s with Nike socks. Hey, look, I'm gonna leave this here for just a second. And for those of you all who are on this audio adventure with me, I apologize up front, but I have to say this. This is an inside joke, right, with Larry, because he's talking about Nike socks. Hey, side note, right? Because y'all know how I am. If you've been around me, right? If you've been around me, you know I like to have fun. I'm gonna joke. I grew up in an era where playing the dozens mean you better be able to come with it, stick with it, and not be sensitive and keep it moving, right? So, y'all know how I am. I gotta say this real quickly, off the subject of the Houston Texans. I'm really not a fan of non-brand matching, right? I'm really not a fan of non-brand matching. Behind me, you can see, right? You can see I got retro Jordans right there. But over here, I got Nikes over here. Over there, I got Nikes over there. In the closet, I got Nikes over there. You know what I have to go with those Nike shoes? Nike shorts. You know what I have to go with those Nike shoes and those Nike shorts? Nike shirts. Now, the socks may not always be Nike. I may be able to find a pair of cheap socks at Foot Locker or Champs or something. Hell, I may even be able to find a good pair at Walmart. The socks don't really matter to me unless I'm gonna show them, right? And I wear a lot of ankle socks, right? I wear a lot of ankle socks. But if I'm going to show my socks, if I'm gonna have some type of socks on like that, you're gonna be able to see that they're Nike somewhere, and it just ain't gonna be white socks, and they ain't gonna be Adidas. See, one day we caught Larry wearing retro Jordan 3s with Adidas socks. I think his pants may have been New Balance. I'm pretty sure that his shirt was Under Armour, and the hat probably was Champion. Now, I ain't gonna say that because he probably had a Larry and Stafford hat on. So I ain't gonna knock him on the hat. But I'm pretty sure that the shirt was Champion, the pants was Under Armour, New Balance. The socks was definitely Adidas, and the shoes was Retro 3 Jordans. I can't do it. And it just like I break out in hives when I see it. When I'm at the gym, and I be saying, hey, the same place you bought them shoes, they have like apparel. Like most of the time, places you buy shoes, they got the apparel to match. I don't care if you go out and buy. Listen, I'm not a New Balance person, I'm not an Adidas person, I'm not a Reebok person, I'm a Nike person. But if I do buy some New Balance shoes, I'm going to buy a New Balance shirt if I plan on wearing it in the gym. I may wear some plain color shorts, but I'm going to have my shoes and my shirt are going to match. Or my shoes and my shorts and my shirt is going to match. I will never have on Nike. I will never have on Nike shoes and a New Balance shirt. That you want to know why there's global warming and why the earth is in such a disarray right now? It ain't got nothing to do with the weather climate. It ain't got nothing to do with the present administration that's in office right now. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It got a lot to do with you people out here who mismatch brands. That's what it is. That's just what it is. Mismatching athletic brands. I'm not talking about what you wear, your classy dress up or your polos and your Levi. I'm not talking about that. I'm strictly talking about athletic apparel. Because nothing irks me more than to see somebody with some Nike Dunks on and some New Balance warm-ups. I'd be like, I think you got the ends mixed up. I think that N is for Nike. The NB stands for New Balance. It don't stand for Nike brand. This ain't like Team Jordan, okay? So for those of y'all who wanted to know, I had to throw that in there because Larry threw in the Nike socks. All right, as I digress and I get ready to get up out of here, once again, yes, HD, it is blasphemy. What's up, Marcus? But before I get up out of here, like I said, there was 8 captains last year. 4 of those captains are gone. 4 of them remain with the team. CJ Stroud, Will Anderson Jr., Aziz Alshire, and Joe Mixon. Gone is Laramie Tunsil, Stephon Diggs, John Weeks, and I don't think that Jimmy Ward will be a captain this year, just based off of the injury history and what he's going to be able to bring to the field. And so I don't know if they're going to replace all 4 of those or if Jimmy comes back and they have to replace 3. But I know that I believe that 2 of the people who should be named team captains going into 2025 this year should be Nico Collins, wide receiver for the Houston Texans, and what he's done, as far as his production on the field and how he's been available and ready for the Houston Texans, and especially helping CJ Stroud grow, being that dependable person that CJ can always look towards. And then offensive lineman Titus Howard. I think that it's time for Titus Howard to get that C put on his chest. And it's not just because of years of service. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about because he's been in the league going on 7 years. I'm not talking about because he's been with the Houston Texans for 7 years. I'm talking about the sacrifice that he's willing to make to play at different positions on the line, but also to show those young players that you have in the room that has been around Titus and knows Titus work ethic and know what Titus brings to the field. It's time for Titus to help to it's time for Titus to help to develop the next batch of Houston Texans offensive linemen. It's time for Queen. I said Stingley. Yeah, that's why I said earlier. Like Stingley should definitely be a captain, and you could even look into Daniil Hunter, being a captain. But I think that with Titus Howard, and now that Laramie's no longer there, now that Shaq Mason is no longer there, he is the vet. He is the big vet. He's the big vet, the big Texans vet in the room. That it's time. It's time. Put that C on his chest and see, what happens. Watch him during training camp, and then watch him during training camp. See what he's doing right now as far as the work is being concerned. Heading into OTAs and heading into training camp. And I feel like that it's time for him to take that next step and to have that C put on his chest. And the reason why I'm saying that is because there's got to be somebody in that room. There's got to be somebody in that room with the voice, and he has to do it. Now, it could go totally the opposite way. It could go Trent Brown could be that, right? And if Trent Brown is that coming out of training camp, and maybe you give it to Trent Brown. But there's no possible way that Titus Howard should let anybody take that from him. Like right now, I would say I would pencil in Titus Howard as far as captain is concerned. Like there's some that I'm putting in pen. Like I'm putting CJ in pen. I'm putting Will in pen. I'm putting Aziz in pen. I'm putting Joe Mixon in pen. I'm putting Nico Collins in pen. I'm putting Derek Stingley Jr. in pen. I'm putting Titus Howard in pencil, and with the hopes of changing it to pen. And the reason why, so some of y'all are too young to realize what I'm saying. When you put it in pen, it can't be erased. When you put it in pencil, it can be erased. And so I need to see, and I would put Titus Howard's name in pencil just to see. All right, man. Now you got to show it to me. Now you got to prove it to me. I believe in you, and I believe that you can do what you need to do. One more thing before I get up out of here. But if you're going to do that, and if you're looking for him to take on this leadership role, right? Because we know leadership is an action, not a position, right? Leadership is an action, not a position. So you want him to take this leadership role. That's cool. He can come in. He can be the big vet to some of these younger guys. He could be the big vet to a lot of these guys who have been around him over the last 2-3 years. He could do that, right? But the Houston Texans offensive staff, starting with offensive coordinator Nick Caley, and then going over to offensive line coach Cole Popovich. Hey, y'all gotta decide early where you're gonna put him. You've got to decide where you're gonna put him, and then leave him there. Find a place for Titus Howard on that line, stick him there, and leave him there. Because if you put him there, and then barring injury, I'm talking about this is if no one gets hurt, no injuries occur, knock on wood, no injuries occur. You put Titus Howard wherever you're going to put him. You put him there, you leave him there. You let him develop through training camp to get to where you want him to be, starting the first regular season game against the Los Angeles Rams. Because if you put him there and you leave him there without moving him up and down into different positions, seeing if where he plays good here, where he plays good there, now you're defeating the purpose. And now I don't feel like you can put the C on his chest unless you're putting it on there for being able to play multiple positions. Hey, we're going to give you a captain because we know that you can play multiple positions on the line, right? No. A couple of weeks ago at the Houston Texans BMW golf golf tournament, the charity golf classic, I specifically asked head coach D'Amico Ryans about having uh offensive linemen who could play multiple positions. And he basically said, hey, look, I don't want a lot of players who can do a lot of things average. I need a player who can do one thing good, right? I need a player who can do one thing good, not a player who can do a bunch of things average. And so you need to stick Titus Howard in one position, in one place, and say, this is where you're going to be, Titus. This is where, barring injury, you're going to play the entire 2025 season. Let him develop right there. Let him develop the habits that he needs to develop right there. Let him develop the game time situations that he needs right there. Let him develop looking and going against, if you're going to put him at right tackle, let him get there and go up against Daniil. Let him go up against Will. Let him go up against sticking Danico Autry in there. Let him go up against some of these guys to get himself acclimated to playing in that position. Because if you move him around entirely too much throughout the regular, throughout training camp and then in the regular season, you say, okay, we just need you to be right here. Now you're defeating the purpose. And now, like Bomani Jones said, you hustling backwards. So I want Titus Howard to be able to get that C on his chest, to be able to help lead this next group of Houston Texans offensive linemen. But that can only happen if the coaching staff, starting once again with Nick Caley, Cole Popovich, and hell, even D'Amico got to say in this, put him in a position, put him in a spot, tell him this is your spot. We'll worry about everything else. If you put him at right tackle, then tell Titus, hey, look, you're a right tackle. You ain't got to worry about none of this other stuff. We're going to figure out this, or we already got what we're going to do. And then once you say, hey, we're making, Ingram the right guard, or we're making Tomlinson the right guard, or we're making, Juice Scruggs the right guard. Just get him acclimated to who he's going to be playing next to, and then to the center who is going to be the quarterback of that offensive line, calling out the different protections. They got to be able to build this rapport, but you can't do that moving him up and down the line. You can't do that and have him build that type of rapport moving up and down the line. You've got to stick him in a place and say, Titus, this spot right here, this is yours. And then you put the captain on his shirt. All right, y'all. I got to get ready to get up out of here, man. I really do appreciate you all joining in to the Texas Tailgate Talk live show. And I will be doing more of these now that I'm actually set up. You can see that I'm set up in my new studio. I am set up with my new everything. We went out and we got lights, and what is that? Oh, my t-shirt. We went out and I got new lights up in here. I got different types of things. I'm going to be, getting me a new camera here pretty soon. I can't wait to bring you all this this great Texans content. And for those of y'all who are just joining, or those of y'all who missed the announcement last week, like this right here, the Texans Tailgate Talk is specifically for you, Texans fans. This is specifically for you. It has nothing to do with the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. It has nothing to do with the Views from a Vet show. It has nothing to do with the Buzz and Petty show. This Texans Tailgate Talk podcast form as well is strictly for you. I'm going to make sure that I deliver you the best Houston Texans content available. And I'm going to use I'm going to use the access that I have in order to be at the places that I need to be at, talk to the players that I need to talk to, the coaches that I need to talk to. I'm going to use that to be able to bring it back to you all so that you all can have the best coming from one of the best. And that's just what it is. There's a lot of people out there that can say that they're doing it this way. A lot of people that can say they're doing it that way. But, well, where are you? I say this all the time. I'll say this again before I get up out of here. In order to be an insider, you got to be inside somewhere, right? In the immortal words of the great Negro poet Chris Brown, how you hating from outside the club? You can't even get in. Leg out. Do, 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 do. Sorry. I just like that song. That's one. Look at me now. Hey, look at me now. Hey. We'll also be doing giveaways on the Texans Tailgate Talk. So for some of you all who are looking at that schedule, that home schedule in 2025, and you say, Sarge, man, I would love to go to see this team play or that team play. Well, just make sure you're subscribed to the Texans Tailgate Talk show on YouTube and to the podcast, and there will be some giveaways, and you may be able to go. You may be able to go to some of these games. What's next weekend, AD? What I'm missing? I'm missing something? Oh, I know what you're talking about. Unfortunately, I won't be there. We'll talk about it though. Don't forget though, y'all. I got some. Listen, not only am I going to be giving away game tickets, I'm also going to be giving away merchandise. I'm also going to be giving away, gift cards for you to buy your own merchandise. There's going to be a lot affiliated and associated with this Texas Tailgate Talk, and I feel like that's just something that you all need, right? And what I mean by that you all need the Texas Tailgate Talk. If you're a Texans fan, you need this. It's just what it is. Daily content, daily exclusive content, and let me not say daily exclusive content, right? It may not be daily exclusive content through the off season, but during the season, you'll definitely be getting daily exclusive content throughout the season, weekend content. And if you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end, I do what I like to call digging in my duffel bag, something that I'll be doing throughout the season as well as we compare some things from this season and last season. But I do a lot of digging in my duffel bag, and that's to give you some of these exclusive interviews that I've had, or some of these exclusive sound bites that I have that's only available to you through Big Sarge Media. So, with that being said, make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Big Sarge Media. Subscribe to the Texas Tailgate Talk podcast, available wherever you get your podcast from. And make sure that you are follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because y'all know we do everything for the gram. One more thing. Yes. You're asking me, will it be a separate channel? Yes. The Texas Tailgate Talk will be a separate channel here soon coming up. That's one thing that my team and I are working on to make sure that you all can get that. Like, you all can go straight, but hey, subscribe to Big Sarge Media too on YouTube. Like, subscribe to that, right? Hold on. Hey, you know what? I'm using that, Marcus. I'm using that. Texans OnlyFans. Oh, I'm using that, Marcus. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, y'all gonna have your own exclusive channel coming from Big Sarge, right? I like that, Marcus. Big Sarge. I'm out.
Big Sarge.